worldwide weather flow live letterblogs.com. It's coming up on 8:35, and we have tropical storm Ferdinand or Fernand, for Fernand we'll call him. 19.2 north, 95.8 west, moving off to the west here, and should be on shore. I would say probably the next 2 to 4 hours or so. Really getting close to land now. 45 mile per hour tropical storm, and it'll probably make landfall that way. And heavy rain and gusty winds down here for our friends in Mexico. Moving west at 9, so it should be safely on shore by about 10 o'clock, no later than midnight tonight. We're going to look at the satellite on here. Um, this is the latest satellite of Fernand, and you can see there is the circulation right there, and it actually probably is making landfall as we speak. You can see it better than visible. We're right in this area of very heavy convection is right where the center is going on shore. So it's moving off to the west, and for our, out here is going to be lots of rain, and all this moisture up here is just plowing into Mexico. And a lot of this moisture will follow the moisture train up into the desert southwest. So the desert southwest is getting some heavy rain today, some flash flooding, some moisture streaming up from Ivo. They'll get a break probably, and then more moisture will come streaming across. This will enhance the monsoons into the southwestern states. So for our friends in the United States out there, this is basically what this will do for you. Also, if you notice down here, is actually another circulation down here. So things are very active in this area, and chances are with the MGO going to phase 1, this active pattern that's sitting out here is actually going to start shifting off eastbound toward the central Atlantic and Caribbean. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so we really need to, things are going to really start popping probably. But again, you got Ferdinand there moving in on shore, and then you got another system down here. You can clearly see there's a circulation down in here, and if that were over the water, probably a tropical storm or hurricane. So these are two pretty close entities, and I think that's another reason why we need to keep an eye up in here too. Although the pressures are high up here in the northern Gulf of Mexico, a lot of convection up here, and chances are things will probably kind of calm down a little bit when Fernand gets on shore. But a lot of convection that's been persisting up here for a few days. I don't see anything imminent at this point in the northern Gulf of Mexico, and even if it did develop, like Fernand doesn't have a lot of time. But you can clearly see that this moisture is heading toward the southeastern bends of Texas, and they could use some rain out here. And this will all be moving on shore in the next 2 to 3 days or so. Alright, so that's all for now right now. For now, moving on shore, and we'll be moving in this direction as to kind of dissipate over the central mountains of Mexico. Let's take a look out in the Atlantic before we do the 24-hour loop from handweather.com. Last items from this tropical storm Fernand is from weatherunderground.com. And as we put it into motion here, Fernand down here in the southern Bay of Campeche, moving on shore. But here's all that storminess in the northern Gulf, and that's along the trailing end of this cold front. And again, we're going to keep an eye. Pressures are somewhat high. Make sure nothing spins up here, especially over the next day or so. We'll see what happens with that. Nothing imminent right away, but if it did develop, it would be slow to develop, and probably chances are it's too close to land to really get going. But here's Ivo, what's left of it. You can clearly see the moisture moving right up to the hoop, and then behind it, this moisture will start moving in behind it. So our friends in the desert southwest will get some heavy rain and flooding. Out in the Atlantic, in the tropical Atlantic, again, things are going to start percolating. You want to watch this area right in here. Over the next day or so, this is where things will probably start getting going along the intertropical conversion zone, fairly far to the north here, and things will start moving. I'm interested in this right here to start to percolate a little bit more. We're going to watch this. It probably has less than a 10% chance of forming, but it's the one that's coming off of Africa, which is out of the picture here, that I'm most concerned about developing and then moving off in this general direction here. As you can see, there's again another trough along the east coast, and you can see a pretty good northwesterly flow. So it's far in advance of any tropical system even trying to make a run for the United States. We can only take it to about right here in the say the possibility exists right in here for development later in the week toward next weekend, Labor Day weekend. If you're going to Leeward Island, just keep posted on what could be developing out here. It's probably going to move in this general direction, as you got a high pressure system sitting right about here, so you can clearly see the steering flow is going to go like this, and then whatever does develop out here in the Atlantic, which is a little far off, we get to see whether it's going to head underneath this trough here, move into the Gulf of Mexico and threaten Florida, or maybe it just goes out to sea with these strong upper level westerly winds. So a little early to tell, but it's definitely something to watch. Things are going to get active, and I want to show you the latest Canadian model, and also the Euro model supports this in some way too, where we develop out here into the Atlantic a developing system here. She is rather, and then moving up in this general direction. And again, you can see there's a weakness here, and we'll see where this system goes. Maybe it goes this way. Another weaker wave system branches off. This is probably the one I was just looking at, going across this way, and this one behind it being the more important one. It's just come off Africa, and we can track it across the Atlantic in the next 3 to 4 days or so and see where it goes in 10 days. Look at the latest, this computer model here. It changes north, but it looks like we'll head off to the west. So we'll see what happens. And we got some time to look at this, but looks like things are going to get active in the Atlantic, and that'll probably happen by the middle of this week into next weekend. We'll probably have a named storm to track. This is Wild Weather for LiveWeatherBlogs.com. Everyone have a safe